You click deploy. The screen says the process has started. And then, nothing. 1 minute passes. 5 minutes. 10. The logs move slowly. The build server feels silent. The old integration service responds like a tired animal. And inside your chest, something begins to tighten. You're not only waiting for the deployment. You're waiting with your anger. You're waiting with your fear. You're waiting with the voice that says, "Why is this system still like this?" But what if this slow deployment is not just a technical problem? What if it is also a mirror? Anyone who has worked with legacy systems knows this feeling. A simple change becomes a chain reaction. One database field affects an old API. That API affects a batch job. The batch job affects a report that no one remembers building. And suddenly, your small fix is no longer small. You begin to feel trapped inside someone else's decisions. Old code feels like old anger. Technical debt feels like emotional debt. Every delay seems to whisper, "You are not in control." And this is where Buddhist patience becomes useful. Not as a religious slogan, not as a way to pretend everything is fine, but as a practice of seeing clearly before reacting. Because the problem is not only the old system, the problem is what the old system awakens inside us. This story is inspired by Buddhist wisdom. There was once a young monk living in an old monastery near a river. Every morning, the monks crossed a wooden bridge to collect water. The bridge was old. Some boards were cracked. Some ropes were loose. During the rainy season, it swayed in the wind. The young monk hated it. Each time he crossed, he complained. "Why has no one fixed this bridge? Why do we still use something so old? Why must every simple task become dangerous and slow?" One day, after hearing his complaints again, the old monk asked him to stop at the center of the bridge. The river moved beneath them. The young monk gripped the rope tightly. The old monk said gently, "Look carefully." The young monk looked at the broken boards. "I see decay," he said. The old monk nodded. "Look again." The young monk looked at the knots, the beams, the repairs, the places where new wood had been added beside old wood. After a while, he said, "I see many hands, many years, many storms." The old monk smiled. "Now you are beginning to see the bridge."
Legacy code is often like that bridge. At first, we only see decay. We see poor naming, strange dependencies, old frameworks, fragile integrations, comments that explain nothing, functions that should have been retired years ago. And anger says, this should not exist. But impermanence says something different. It says this existed for a reason, and now it is changing. No piece of code is permanent. No architecture is sacred. No system is frozen forever. Even the most rigid monolith is not truly fixed. It is a collection of decisions, pressures, compromises, deadlines, and survival. This does not mean bad code is good. It means we stop treating it as an insult. When you see legacy code as an insult, you react with anger. When you see it as an impermanent landscape, you begin to respond with skill. You stop asking, who made this mess? You begin asking, what is this system trying to protect? That one question can change your whole state of mind. There is another Zen principle often called beginner's mind. It means approaching something without the arrogance of already knowing. This is difficult in software. When we have suffered through a system for months or years, we stop seeing it clearly. We say, that service is always broken. That team never documents anything. This deployment always fails. This integration is impossible. Sometimes these statements feel true because they came from real pain, but pain can become a filter. Beginner's mind does not mean forgetting your experience. It means putting your frustration down long enough to look again. Maybe the obvious solution is hidden under years of resentment. Maybe the system is not failing randomly. Maybe it is following an old rule no one has questioned. Maybe the deployment is slow because it is doing protection work you have not noticed yet. The beginner asks simple questions. What changes first? What breaks next? What depends on this? What is assumed but not written down? What would I see if I did not already hate this code? That last question is powerful because sometimes the biggest blocker is not the legacy system. It is the story we keep telling ourselves about it. Slow deployment cycles can feel like punishment. You make one change, you wait, you test, you wait again, you find a hidden issue, you roll back, you breathe. The impatient mind says, "This is wasting time." But the patient mind says, "This is showing me the ripple." In a complex system, small changes reveal hidden relationships. A field mapping reveals a business rule, a timeout reveals a dependency, a failed build reveals an assumption, a slow deployment reveals where the organization is afraid. Patience is not doing nothing. Patience is moving carefully enough to notice consequences. This is especially true with monolithic integration. If you strike too hard, the whole structure shakes. But if you observe first, change one thing, and listen to the result, the system begins to teach you. The old bridge cannot be repaired by anger. It must be repaired board by board. Legacy systems are the same. One test, one interface, one dependency, one careful release. This is not weakness. This is craftsmanship. Maybe you are tired because you have been carrying more than code. You have been carrying deadlines, expectations, production pressure, the fear of being blamed, the quiet shame of not knowing why something failed. And when the deployment takes too long, all of that pain gathers in one place. So you stare at the screen and feel your body become tight. In that moment, Buddhist patience begins with one simple act. Notice. Notice the heat in your face. Notice the speed of your thoughts. Notice the urge to blame. Notice the need to force the system to obey. You do not have to judge these feelings. You only have to see them before they become your hands, your words, and your decisions. A calm developer is not someone who never feels stress. A calm developer is someone who can feel stress without becoming stress. That is the practice. So the next time you face a long deployment or painful legacy integration, try 3 reflections. First, ask, what is changing here? This reminds you that no system is permanent. Second, ask, what am I assuming? This brings back beginner's mind. Third, ask, what is the smallest careful step? This protects you from reckless reaction. Before refactoring, observe. Before blaming, map the dependency. Before rushing, understand the ripple. Before calling the old system useless, ask what it has been carrying for years. Some code is old because no one cared, but some code is old because it survived. Seeing the difference is wisdom. Changing it carefully is patience. The young monk eventually helped repair the bridge, not all at once, board by board. And with each repair, he no longer saw only decay. He saw time. He saw effort. He saw change. Legacy code is not your enemy. Slow deployment is not always your punishment. Sometimes the system in front of you is teaching the same lesson life teaches again and again. Everything changes. But peace begins when we stop demanding that change happen on our schedule. If this reflection helped you breathe a little easier, subscribe for more calm stories about Buddhist wisdom, work stress, and modern life. And share in the comments, what old system in your life is teaching you patience right now?